That's what I wear sometimes when I have I had a, things are changing, right? There was a lot of radiation that came through, and so I felt it this morning in my lungs, having to clear it. And then last night, right there in the middle, Manu era, right? But I was watching a video that was put up by Stephen A. Smith. Most folks know Langley 1, CIA, right? NSA, the Beast Technology, the negative 13 Metatronic Spiral. And Stephen A. Smith, because of, I monitor certain other channels, which basically is decoding their talk, right? And so Stephen A. Smith, who is one of the big faces at ESPN, big sports media, and he produced a really good video, actually. But what it really is a translation of his code talk. Because, in other words, you can listen to every sound bite, bits and bytes of data that is visual information, but it's sound. The sound doesn't lie. The sound frequencies don't lie. So that's what we translate. We translate the sound frequencies as they relate to the system that they're held captive to. So he mentioned a number of cryptic remarks, not feeding the beast. He didn't say technology. He didn't say system. He didn't say 666. He didn't need to, did he? All he needed to do was to say one word, beast. And it might be out of all the sonic frequencies that he spoke that you could hear on his podcast, there might have only been one. That word B-E-A-S-T. There could have been 1 out of 500 subscribers of people that were watching that channel where the only reason that they were there was to experience that one word that is cross-indexed to a lot of other coded words. Because letters are numbers and numbers are letters. In mathematical and geometrical form and flow of creation energy mechanics. He made another cryptic remark, numbers games. That's exactly what it is. It's a numbers game. Because numbers are energy. And this is particularly true when you have a biometric account, right? And that's tied directly to the bonds, right? Washington, D.C., the municipal bonds, and all the work that was broke down over time, which is translating codes, because what is a code? A statute. You can tie that directly to what they were pushing. Remember when they were changing everything out and going to the microwave towers? There was a lot of things that was happening at once because they were moving at a very high rate of speed. We got to move faster. And I covered that in a lot of the videos that I did. Why I was working at the California Department of Forestry in Cal Fire in 1970. Right? They're putting microwave towers up. They're changing out the crystals on the radios. Now they're going to what they call an incident command system. That's their full spectrum dominance. Which means instead of having the full electromagnetic waveform spectrum at your disposal, right, being one with all creation, so that you're experiencing the eternal energy creation realities. Those are the angelic realities, right? So you realize their consciousness is inverted, which is fallen. They're in a hole. They can never catch up and get out of that hole. Why? Because they're never going to be able to pay back that many electrons in order to do what? Run their system, which is system mechanics. What they generated using numbers, playing numbers games. And that's how it works. Numbers are energy, numbers are letters, fire letters. So it means that when you're always experiencing the one, which is the purest of light, which is the purest of hearts, which means your soul arcing consciousness is not experiencing the matter state yet, then it makes it easy to translate and expose all the codes. As to whether what? They're in perfect balance. Because atoms that vibrate naturally seek, and you see this across the AC, seek to be in perfect balance. So they're not having to do any work, which is known as the law of least effort, to experience absolute love. That's a genius frequency. That's the genius. That's the highest level of intelligence. That's the EFFI field. So when you're experiencing the EFFI field, That means the one always knows what's going on. You can't escape the one. So when you're with the one, and you're a one because you're not holding one electron captive, okay? Then you're experiencing the highest acceleration of what? Love and service to others. The first star. The first crystal star. So you're always with Adam. You're always with the first atom. The first silver seed. And that makes it straightforward. Because you're always experiencing perfect balance in the atmospherics. The atmospherics. Right? And so that means that you're harmless. You're not seeking to do any harm to yourself, so therefore you're not seeking to do harm to anything that's in the mirror. Because you're experiencing what love is. Of everything that's in the mirror that we're giving love to. Because the feedback, this is where the speed really has everything to do with what we call entropy. Right? I used to call it decades ago entropic programming, which is going in reverse. So instead of gaining energy, right, and losing mass, no, they're losing speed and gaining mass. That's an inverter. So their consciousness is inverted. So it's much the same way when you're on a movie set. Everything around you is an artifact. It's a Truman movie set. Why would people choose to live in a movie set in which the programming, the beast system, is designed to collapse on itself? You already know the future of that system. Right? So you realize that captivity, to keep it running. So it needs energy to keep it running for a what? A given length of time. So we needed time. They needed time. That's why it's the final drama. So you can see how a lot of these things are coded, and one of the reasons why I monitor the changes that they're experiencing by virtue of their code talkers and the audience that they're speaking to. So I realize, for example, when you go up and look at the comment section there, you're experiencing how they're responding to the information, which is represented by the codes, which are the frequencies of the microphone that we're experiencing with our antenna, making that translation. Then you see how they translate what Stephen A. Smith was saying. Right? And you see how they interpret that, how they translate that, and then this is their reaction state. The reaction state. So when you realize that you're running at such a high rate of speed, that the speed at which something that you're generating, which is an angelic reality, which is an eternal life energy reality, then the waste product becomes negligible, which means it's not slowing your speed down. So that's immediate manifestation. That's one manifestation. Because the torque speed differential between the use of an electron and the waste product of electron means that you're not experiencing any loss. Therefore, there is no aging. Because the metabolic rate at which living cells are experiencing what they are experiencing eternal life. There's no loss. No loss of one electron. You don't notice it because your sensors, sensing consciousness in motion, you're not sensing any loss of what we are in any other living cell, wherever we go. So not one cell that we're connected to, which is a living cell, right? A living unit of energy that is conscious and aware of itself, has ever experienced anything less than what we are. That's an angelic reality. That's who we are. So you can see, for example, how that particular video was encrypted with a number of remarks. And it's interesting to see, actually, if you want to take the time and energy, to see how folks responded to what he's saying. It's actually a torque speed differential to see the translation of the codes of who the other folks are that are responding to what he put up there. It's a fascinating map read, because that's what we do. We're map reading the terrain, the consciousness, planetary consciousness terrain of everything that's held in cellular memory that people are experiencing between past, present, and future. That's why I love that guy. I cannot pronounce his name because it's multi-syllables, but I don't I'm not choosing to remember a lot of things anymore because it's like it's unnecessary. When you realize the rate of speed which things are actually happening, because I realize that there's a big difference between running on memory and no memory. What you're choosing to be held captive by, that you're running as a program, an APIN grid, right? That is not an angelic reality, because that's not what they build. Captive systems, capturing soul energy, trapping consciousness, which is energy, to keep their systems running, their machinery running. That's what they do. So you can see sort of the speed at which things are now moving at a little bit of a faster pace. I experience it through the ecospheres, because I'm experiencing the servers are moving at a higher rate of speed. That means more light is coming in here, real living light, the one. Thank you all for being here. We love you all. Be good to yourselves.